Pokemon is not what it used to be, and it never will be. And that's good, don't get me wrong. Oh no. I'm not saying that the recent Pokemon games have been good or anything like that. I'm saying that it's only gonna get better from here on out. The best proof of that is right here. Pokemon Legends Arceus, the savior of the franchise. Okay, maybe not the savior, but like the closest thing we have at the time. At least that's my opinion. But a lot of people seem to disagree and think it's horrible. So I played it again to see if it really was as good as I remembered, or the flop the majority of the internet seems to think it was. Now, before we start and go on this journey, I have to apologize. I kinda effed up and did not record like the first 2 hours of the game or so. So let me just give you a little rundown. So as you noticed, at the start of the game, we kinda just get dropped into this world by Arceus, Fortnite style. Straight up ripped from your world, your friends, and your family. Isekai, never to be seen again. You wake up on a beach where you meet Professor Laventon and his 3 Pokemon, Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott. See, Professor Laventon is a Pokemon professor, but he has one teeny tiny problem. He's dog shit at catching Pokemon. So you help him out to get his 3 Pokemon back, and he brings you to Jubilife Village. The whole thing about Pokemon Legends Arceus is the catching mechanic. You no longer need to engage in battle with Pokemon. You can just throw a Pokeball and catch it. You get to Jubilife Village, where you aren't necessarily treated nicely, especially by this chef guy, Benny. But after some discussing, they accept to take you in, under one condition. You become a part of the Servicorps, if you can even call it that, since kinda only has one member besides you, and he kinda is an incompetent dickhead. Meet Rai! Did I mention that he's an incompetent dickhead? Rai gives you a little tutorial about the game mechanics during your trial to become a member. Considering that the Servicorps is madly understaffed and don't even have a member that is able to catch 3 Pokemon, I don't really think they have the right to be picky. But what do I know? So you catch the 3 Pokemon you're supposed to and become a member of the Servicorps. And that's when I finally got to pick my starter. Now, Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott are all 3 pretty cool starter Pokemon. So it was kinda a hard choice, but I ended up picking Oshawott. Meet Jeff. Yeah, his name is Jeff. So you go present yourself to the head of the Galaxy Expedition team. It's the whole thing you're working for. The Servicorps is a part of that. Here, you get greeted by Kamado, who immediately starts throwing hands with you. Like, seriously. Just imagine it's your first day at work, and your boss just Zumo throws you on the ground and sends you to the hospital. Okay, he did not send me to the hospital, but you get my point. Finally, after getting beat up by your boss, going through another 10,000 tutorials, and having a little battle with this merchant guy, Volo, who will definitely not be important later on, I was free to roam the first of the 5 open areas of this game, the Obsidian Fieldlands. Here I just caught a bunch of Pokemon and got my ass kicked by alpha Pokemon. They are basically just stronger and bigger versions of normal Pokemon. After catching an Eevee and naming a Titan, I went back to the village to rest for the day. But strangely enough, in the middle of the night, a strange lightning struck. I can tell you that is never a good sign, but we will get back to that later. The next day, you actually get your first mission, or rather you steal it from Rai, who is too incompetent to do it himself. So you go to the Obsidian Fieldlands and meet Mai, who is a warden of the Diamond Clan. See, in Hisui there were 2 clans that were here long before any of the Galaxy Expedition team or anyone else got here. The Diamond Clan that believes in the existence of a Pokemon called Almighty Sinnoh that controls time, and the Pearl Clan that believes in an Almighty Sinnoh that controls space. Mai is a warden of the Diamond Clan and is supposed to take care of Weirder, one of the Pokemon blessed by Almighty Sinnoh. Only problem is, one of these big, scary alpha Pokemon seems to be causing trouble at Yeartrack Heights. It's a fucking Cricketune. Yes, a Cricketune. So you kick its ass, Weirder thanks you, and you set up a new base camp. Colonization. The next day, you get woken up by loud arguing coming from outside. So you wake up, get out there to check it out. And that's when you meet Irida, the leader of the Pearl Clan, and Adamant, the head of the Diamond Clan, beefing it out. And when I tell you they are beefing, I mean they have bigger beef than me and the guy that stole my marbles in 2nd grade. I will find you. But yeah, they have some generational beef. Anyway, after you deal with them, you make your way over to Kamado's office, where you get your next mission. Remember the lightning from earlier? Turns out it wasn't just any normal lightning. Who could have guessed that? It came from the very same space-time rift you fell from. And it struck not 1, but 5 of the blessed noble Pokemon the Diamond and Pearl Clan worship, and sent them in some kind of weird frenzy. Your mission: investigate Cleaver, the noble living in the Obsidian Fieldlands, and find a way to calm it. Despite not trusting me one bit when I first came here, they now want me to risk my life for them. Great! So after some grinding and some evolutions, I made my way over to the Grand Tree Arena. Here you meet Lane, Cleaver's warden. Like surprisingly many characters in this game, Lane is kind of a dick and doesn't want you to quell Cleaver's frenzy. So we throw hands. Yep, we beat the shit out of him. And we find out that Cleaver's favorite food could possibly quell his frenzy. But we can't get close enough to feed him. What to do? I know! What if we just throw it at him? You can't actually tell me any of them believe that was a smart idea. Imagine you're angry as shit and somebody just rolls up on you and just throws your favorite fruit right in your face. That shit would just piss you off even more. But before you even get to battle Cleaver, Weirder finally decides that you're cool enough to ride it. Yay! So now actually traveling at a reasonable pace, you go back to Grand Tree Arena to quell Cleaver's frenzy. And this is where Pokemon Legends Arceus shines. The boss battles. These are no normal Pokemon battles. No. These are fast-paced, action-packed, real-time battles. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little. They're not that action-packed. Not really real-time Pokemon battles either, and they are kinda easy. Like, I would never say that I'm a good gamer. Oh no. But even I thought these battles were easy. But they are fun, and they are different, so I did appreciate them. So, after a long, epic battle with Cleaver, you finally quell it from its frenzy and return gloriously to Jubilife Village to rest. And I caught an Alpha Beniri and called it Banban. So I guess that's cool. No, it's not what you think! A new day, a new opportunity.
Go Quell Ursaluna!
Give me a break!
And by the way, this is Arizu, Lilligan's warden.
Lilligan? I thought I was supposed to quell Ursaluna.
Just go!
So, your unpaid, overworked ass makes its way over to the Crimson Mirelands, to the Solaceon ruins, where you meet Kalba, Ursaluna's warden. She tells you that she doesn't want your help, but after you retrieve a fragment of the ruins from some annoying ass bandit sisters who are, say it with me now, a bunch of dickheads, she actually starts trusting you. She agrees to let you quell Ursaluna, but when you go to fight it, you realize Ursaluna wasn't frenzied at all. It was just irritated by some weird powder on its fur. Since you helped it, Ursaluna decides to give you the privilege of riding on it, which comes with the ability of finding hidden treasures. You go back to the village to report, but that is when you learn that Lilligan was the frenzied one all along, and Arizu lied, damn well knowing that Ursaluna was never actually frenzied. Normally I would get mad at her now, but look at her. How could I? How could I? So after using Ursaluna's nose to find her, we confront her. Turns out there were no ill intentions behind her actions. I mean, how could there be? She didn't tell Adaman about Lilligan because she knew he had a lot to do. So she tried handling the situation on her own, but then Lilligan irritated Ursaluna, so she came to the Galaxy Expedition team seeking help. She even gathered Lilligan's favorite food already and turned it into throwable Golem. Like, how could you ever be mad at her? A few evolutions and alpha Pokemon later, I arrived at Brava Arena. It is here where you get to have an epic battle against Lilligan. Throwing, dodging, battling, more throwing. Throwing and dodging is kinda all you do in these battles. But after more dodging and even more throwing, you finally defeat Lilligan. And after I added an Alpha Ursaring named Cupcake to my team, it's off right to the next frenzied noble Pokemon. Man, this is actually starting to be fun. So, which noble is it going to be this time?
You're not fighting a noble.
Oh, f you! This time you're supposed to help raise a noble Pokemon instead of quelling one. Also, there's some ghost shenanigans going on in the area. So off you go to the Cobalt Coastlands. In the Cobalt Coastlands, you meet Palina, the warden of no Pokemon? See, Palina used to be Arcanine's warden, but one day, Arcanine's pup got ripped into the ocean, and while Arcanine was able to save its kid, it inevitably succumbed to its 4 times weakness to water and drowned. I don't know how smart it was settling in a coastal area as a fire rock type, but I'm sure he regretted that decision. Now, if Arcanine's pup would just become the new lord of the area, that wouldn't be a problem. But seeing your own father drown in front of your own eyes often leads to a little phenomenon I like to call trauma. And Palina, being a nice person and all, doesn't want to force Growlithe to become the next lord, leaving the area without one. Since Palina doesn't want your help raising Growlithe, you decide to deal with your other mission, the ghost sightings. Apparently a ghost has been spotted on an island near the coast, but to get there you will need to get across the water. Luckily for you, Palina knows just the right person that could help you. This is Iscan, Palina's secret boyfriend. Iscan, I'm not really sure about the pronunciation, but yeah. You may ask, why is he her secret boyfriend? See, Iscan is a member of the Diamond Clan and Palina is a member of the Pearl Clan. So they're kinda supposed to be, but they aren't. You locate Iscan and he helps you prepare Basculegion's favorite meal. Basculegion is the blessed Pokemon Iscan is the warden of. And after taming it, you're finally able to traverse the 7 seas. But the second Basculegion agrees to help you, it happens. Remember the bandit sisters from earlier? Yeah, the dickhead ones. Introducing Charm, Coin, and Clover. 3 stupid sisters with even stupider names. They show up, kidnap Growlithe, and dip. They plan on evolving Growlithe to have a noble Pokemon at their disposal. The only problem in their plan is that Palina has 2 Growlithes. And they got the wrong one. Not knowing that, they went on to Firespit Island in the hopes that Growlithe would evolve. Naturally, we go after them to rescue Growlithe. But as we get there and confront them, the other Growlithe shows up. He took all his courage and came here all by himself to save his friend. And then something amazing happens. Growlithe evolves, not the one that got kidnapped, the cowardly one, the traumatized one. But the very second it evolves, lightning strikes. You know what that means? I dodged and I threw and I dodged and I threw and I dodged and I battled and I threw and I actually died once, but after a long and fierce battle against the new noble Arcanine, I quelled its frenzy. Off to the next one! Also, I added a Yama to the team. His name is YN. Hello. Go quell Electrode in the Coronet Highlands. Alright. Here, take its stupid ass warden with you. That isn't only a dickhead, but also a bitch. So after you get your next mission, you make a quick stop at the battlegrounds in Jubilife Village. Here, you meet Ingo. Ingo is Sneasler's warden, a Pokemon you will definitely need if you want to traverse the Coronet Highlands. But Ingo also has something in common with you. Just like you, Ingo came from another world. Apparently Arceus likes just dropping random people in random worlds. He's playing with us like we're Sims. Anyway, Ingo takes you to Sneasler. On the way, you talk about his past and how he lost his memories. When you get there, you have a quick battle with Ingo, and after that, Sneasler becomes one of your mounts. That was surprisingly easy. Yeah. And you have forgot something. Millie, you know, the dickhead bitch I was talking about, she kinda has something against us quelling Electrode, since she believes it was blessed by Almighty Sinner or something. If you haven't noticed, she is kinda stupid, so you have to defeat her like 2 times just to get to Electrode. But after that, it's time to finally fight this big, round bomber. And even though it threw all it had at me, even its own kids, I managed to beat it in the end. But let's be real here, that is not the real win. The real win is that you don't have to deal with Millie anymore. I will definitely not miss you. I guess it's off to the next noble. Off to the last noble. Also, I evolved Cupcake. Aw, isn't he cute? By now you know the deal. Kamado tells you about the frenzied noble and you go quell it. But this time, he, Adaman, and Irida seem to be conflicted. This time, the noble Pokemon hasn't hurt anybody yet. Maybe because it basically lives in an uninhabitable snow tundra. But still, it hasn't hurt anybody, so... yeah, no. I ain't doing this. That's like saying, oh, I will not get my dog treated. He has rabies, but he hasn't hurt anybody yet, so it's fine. Stupid. Luckily, they still come to their senses, and you get your next mission. Travel to the Alabaster Icelands and quell the frenzied noble Avalanche. So, after once again beating Ryan in the battle, you go meet with Garrick, Avalanche Warden, in the Alabaster Icelands. And let me just tell you, Garrick is one of the most tough guy wannabes that I ever have seen in my entire life. You wanna know who is actually tough? Who's really tough? This is Sabi, and she's the warden of Braviary. Instead of fighting us like tough guy Garrick over there did, she plays hide and seek with us to determine if we're worthy of Braviary. Okay, you do still fight Braviary in the end, but it's still cooler than just battling. Yeah, you did all that just for some ice. All this seeking and puzzling and battling just to get some ice. It is truly moments like that that make me question what the heck I'm doing with my life. Anyway, since you now have the eternal ice you need to make bombs for Avalanche, you hurry back to Arena's approach. There you get ready for your final battle, the final frenzied noble. After this battle, all of this will be over, and Hisui will be a lot safer. You walk into the arena, and there it is. Avalanche! And it's fucking gigantic! Like, the nobles are all pretty big, but this one is an absolute unit. It's the size of a fucking iceberg. But that doesn't matter, cause you have a job to do. So you dodge, throw, and battle it with all your might. And eventually, you win. You did it. You defeated all 5 frenzied noble Pokemon and restored peace to the lands of Hisui. You are a hero.
What have you done? That's all your fault. I never trusted you from the start. You tricked us. Monster!
These are the things you hear as you get escorted out of Jubilife Village. Now you might ask, how exactly did you get into a situation like this? So let me explain. After you defeated the last noble Pokemon and quelled its frenzy, you return to the village to rest. But the very next day, the sky turned red. And the space-time rift, the very thing that brought you into this world and caused all of this trouble with the nobles, not only got bigger, but also brought a terrifying Pokemon to this world. Since you came from the very same rift, Kamado concluded that you had something to do with all of this. So without even a second thought, he kicked you out and told you to prove your innocence by solving this mess. Great. It is here where Volo gets his time to shine. Yeah, Volo, remember him? The merchant guy from the very start? He was kinda there for the whole game, but it was not until now that he actually became important for the story. See, Volo is very interested in the history of Hisui, and a lot of the things he knows about the region, he knows from one specific person. This is Kogita, and while she looks like his grandma and like a baddie, they seem to not be related, or at least not directly. So Volo takes you to Kogita, and she tells you that you have to defeat the Pokemon that came from the rift. But to do that, you need to seek out the 3 Lake Guardians and obtain an item called the Red Chain. And without further questions, that's exactly what you do. You go to the 3 lakes, defeat and catch some alpha Pokemon, solve the stupid puzzles of the Lake Guardians, which were designed for 10-year-olds, but for some reason you don't get them, because of the stupid old-ass wording they use, and it makes you question your whole existence, at least until you come to the conclusion that you're just stupid. And you obtain the 3 pieces of the red chain. So obviously you hurry to Jubilife Village to tell Kamado about the good news. But there you learn that Kamado took matters into his own hands and went to Mount Coronet to fight the Pokemon himself. I really start to think this man has some anger issues, cause this Pokemon hasn't even done anything yet. It hasn't even landed here. Like, we don't even know if it's frenzied or anything. And he just basically wants to kill it. But anyway, you go after him to stop him and finally put him end to this mess. But just when you are about to reach Mount Coronet, the closest point to the rift, you get stopped by Benny? Turns out Benny, good old kind of a dickhead Benny, is a ninja. Yes, the same old guy that makes you potato mochi after every fucking mission. That guy. He explains that Kamado and he came from the same village in another region, and that Kamado fears Pokemon so much because they destroyed their village. But it's kinda suggested that it wasn't just Pokemon, but more of a war situation. But that doesn't matter right now. You defeat him and move on. Mount Coronet. You have finally reached Mount Coronet. And there's only one more obstacle between you and that rift. Kamado! You get ready for an epic battle as he towers before you and summons Giratina! Oops, wrong script. Wrong script, guys. Sorry. Wrong script. He actually just has a normal team of Pokemon, and you have a normal Pokemon battle with him before he admits that he was wrong for not trusting you. Sorry, guys. Anyway, after you beat Kamado, you finally get to see the Pokemon from the space-time rift. It is Palkia, and it wants to battle you. And after a long, epic 2-minute battle, you defeat it and catch it. But surely now it's finally over, right? Wrong! Turns out Palkia only came to warn you about his aggressive dickhead of a brother, Dialga. So after running for your fucking life, Laventon, Adamant, Irida, and you work together to create something called the Origin Ball. Oh yeah, I guess Rai actually was the one that crafted it in the end. But nobody cares about him, so whatever. And with that, you're finally prepared for your final, boss battle against Dialga. Or Palkia, depending on which of the clans you chose. As you walk up to Dialga, fear overcomes your body, But you know, you have to fight. So you go. And you dodge for the millionth time. And you throw for the millionth time. And you battle for the billionth time. And with one final good old throw, you catch it in the origin ball. You look up and feel relieved as the sky clears and the rift closes. You have done it. You have saved Hisui, its Pokemon, and its people. You leave the ruins that the battle with the Dialga has left behind. As the credits begin to roll. I know that the game has its flaws. I'm not stupid. I see them very much, yeah. It's very repetitive and there is not that much to do besides catching Pokemon. Even a lot of the side quests are just catching Pokemon. But the catching is actually fun and the whole setting and story are actually interesting. And that's also the reason why I'm so hyped for Legends EA. It builds on the base of Legends Arceus and I think it's going in the right direction. But what do I know? I want to know your opinion. So please leave a comment. And while you're at it, maybe like, maybe subscribe, maybe even check out my Discord server. I would like to see you there. But until then, farewell.
Eighteen plates say to be the fragments of the all-compassing deity. You hold in your hand 7 of them, so you must wondering, where's the last one? Why, it's right here. Now, hand over your plates you gathered. I will be the one who break them all together. My desire to meet Arceus cannot be contained any longer. I need to know what it is. I must know what it is. If you want to keep this world from disappearing, then face me in battle. Not that you have a choice, even if you don't wish to battle me. I'm not above using force to take those plates from you.
You thought it was over, didn't you? Well, it's not. Remember Volo? The merchant guy from the very start that was definitely not important at all? Well, turns out he was kinda important. because he's the final boss of the game. Yep. At the very end of the game, he reveals he was evil all along, and he only helped you throughout the game so he could get closer to Arceus. Then he proceeds to beat the living crap out of you. And I'm not exaggerating. He does not fight you with a normal team of 6 Pokemon. Oh no, 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 no. He pulls up not only with a remix of Cynthia's theme, but also of her team. And normally that would be enough. That already would be enough to make you shit your pants. But as soon as you beat his last Pokemon, Volo just laughs. He laughs while he towers before you. And he summons Giratina! 2 fucking times. Yes, you heard me right, 2 times. You have to beat this thing in both of its fucking forms. All of that after beating his team of 6 extremely OP Pokemon without healing a single time. I have lost count of how many times I had to do this fight, okay? And now every time I see Volo's stupid face and just get PTSD, I get flashbacks, okay? He scarred me for life. But after finally beating him, it was over. All the catching of Pokemon, all the battling, all the dodging and throwing led to this one moment. At the summit of Mount Coronet, I started playing the Azumarill flute. And there it was. Arceus. And of course I had to battle it before I could catch it. Now, before just ending the video right here, I want to show my appreciation to this fine piece of art. More specifically, the fine individuals this game has brought to the franchise of Pokemon. Okay, bye.